Hello and welcome back to another episode of What a Week. I'm Terry Martin and I'm going to be giving you the news from us, by us. And when I say from us, it's because I'm not alone. I'm here with Tony Crossbody and Mr. C Comedian.
Big up. Big up.
Hello guys, how are you this week?
All good, man. All good. The sun has been shining and everybody's smiling. Come on, what more could you want?
Honestly.
You can see by my face. I
caught the sun, right?
Well, yeah, Tony, you're looking like you're really lie out in the sun this weekend.
Yeah. Toasted, brother.
Is it because you were out this weekend, Tony? What was you up to?
Well, I had all my big plans set out. I wanted to go down to the reparations march, and I had
I was going to ask you about that.
And you know, on the day, something I ate the night before just didn't agree with me, man. I just didn't feel that I could make that, you know. So I was just trying to capture the mood on live on Facebook, you know, see how things were going. Looked to be quite a successful event, though.
Mm-hmm.
So the enemy poisoned you, Tony.
Well, I was in bed for the whole day, right into the evening, you know. And I had to cancel. I had another event to go to. I had to sort of text the person and say, look, I can't make it. So, yeah, sad about that.
So the thing is, Tony, what I want to know is who cooked that food that poisoned you? Did you cook it yourself?
For real?
Was it the person who last week we saw you all dressed up all sprucey for that day? You know what I mean? Because we don't say it was a date. We don't say it was a date. Don't try it, bro.
It was that little restaurant I went to, you know, to support the old chancellor. You know, it says, get out there and start supporting this restaurant. I get some bad food.
Listen, that's you know why? Because some of these food shops, you know, they're not wasting food. That's food what they had prepared from March.
And they're bringing it back out. That's
terrible. Like, oh no, man, I'm not wasting this good curry chicken, man. No. I put it in freezer. Don't worry, black people soon come. It's chicken, mate.
They saw me coming, man. They saw me coming. They saw the size of me. Said, "Look, there's the guy. Give it to him."
Yeah.
Better now, though, Tony. You're
fine now. Yeah. It was so much. It was a shame, really. It had to be that day, but there you go.
That's a shame.
There you go, man.
And Mr. C, I'm guessing you didn't get down there because you said you had something else doing on the weekend.
Yeah. I had a very, very good weekend. A lot of family occasions. Again, one of my good set of friends, they had a wedding anniversary. I went out with my sons. I broke one of my cardinal rules because my youngest son, he was feeling a little bit down and low, and he didn't really want to go out. And I said, I know there's 3 letters that no matter how low he is, will bring him back to life. KFC. So for the first time in his 15 years and his brother's 17 years, I took them to KFC. We did drive-through KFC. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The boneless chicken box or whatever. Well, you know what? For the first time in a long time, I partook in a little bit of the KFC. And I ain't gonna lie, you know, what they call it, the kind of chicken. The kind of big, a little bit bigger than the strips or whatever. I had some, and you know what? I ain't gonna lie, it did sweet me, but I won't be making a habit of it. So yeah, man, I thought, you know what? Let me do something special with my boys. So that was good. On Sunday, I had my first comedy booking since lockdown. And DJ CLK Charles, big up to yourself.
Stage.
I performed. I did a little bit of entertainment for the audience, and I'm sure they appreciate it. That's all I'm going to say. and there's some video evidence out there of me having a good time with some of the clients. It's not me. Somebody's superimposed my head onto that person's body to make it look like it was me. Do not believe the videos that are going around.
What was that person doing? I'm just intrigued.
I was accosted by either a female or two when they were playing music. Yes.
What, a little slow wine was going on or something?
I don't know if it was slow, but it definitely. I think the wine involved was them drinking too much of it, and then them trying to take that wine and press it upon me.
Wow.
It was a non-social distancing dance.
No social distancing going on there.
Well, I did protest.
Sure you did.
Yeah, I did, but they said to me, I just can't remember. It could be children watching, but no.
We'll leave it right there then.
But it was good to be out, man. It was good to be out and doing what I love, which is making people laugh. So I've had a wonderful weekend. Thank you. What did you get up to, Terry?
This weekend, what did I do actually? It's all a blur now. I enjoyed the garden, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I went for a long walk. Nothing too interesting. I was just relaxing. I made sure I enjoyed the weather and just spent it with the family, really, looking after my boys.
Good.
Yeah,
Man.
It was a relaxed weekend, but I did have 2 meetings on the Saturday. That's why I couldn't go to the march. But I had some friends that went, and I watched a lot of videos on it, and I could see that it was a lovely day. I don't know what put out there. But from the footage that I saw, it looked peaceful. It looked entertaining. It kind of reminded me of Carnival. Yes.
With a little bit of education put in as well. There was some lovely speeches, what I saw as well going on. So, no, man, a beautiful day of blackness. That's what it was.
Good. I'm happy for that. And please, if any of you watching went there, drop us some comments. Let us know how the day was. Let us know what you learnt. Maybe share with us. And throughout the episode today, make sure you get involved in our conversation. Whatever we're talking about, we want to hear from you also. If you agree with us, if you've got anything to add to it, please get in the comments and join in with us, the conversation, because it's not just for us, it's for everybody. We love it, don't we? We love it when people interact with us.
Come on.
First of all, breaking news. The Lebanon explosion. I don't know if anybody else has seen it. It's literally just happened. I was on my phone just before coming on the show and I saw a video of this explosion. Is that the right word for it? It looked nuclear. It was massive.
It looks something more than just a normal kind of explosion. It's definitely, in fact, in my lifetime, I don't think I've ever seen an explosion quite like it. Yeah.
I hope, I know there's been some casualties, I think, but let's just pray for the people of Lebanon because that looked pretty serious. Tony, have you seen about it?
No, I just saw the footage, some of the same footage you saw, and it looked quite scary. Like, the explosion looked very big. I saw them talking about it might have something to do with fireworks, but that's kind of early conjecture, and I can't really see with that sort of mushroom cloud that we saw on that film, that it could be that, but. No doubt, within the next day or two, we're gonna see whether or not this was some sort of terrorist attack or was it an accident. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, whatever it is, let's make sure we keep them people in our prayers.
Definitely, man.
I'm pretty sure there's going to be a few casualties out of that, but let's just stay prayerful. Our next thing on the list and agenda today is we're going to be talking about Amazon. I think we've spoken about Amazon before and something that was a bit dodgy on their website. Tony, I'm going to let you introduce this one. What's going on Amazon?
It's really, I really kind of find that by seeing the MP David Lammy's Twitter, where he pointed out he came across a pair of Brogues men's shoes that were on sale on Amazon.co.uk, but the color was described as nigger brown.
Never.
Now, for me personally, that's the first time I've ever seen that. But according to people I've spoken to, apparently they've seen it on descriptions of other goods. For example, like tights and all that and that sort of stuff. So I think David Lammy sort of got in touch with Amazon and basically they took the ad down. Now, basically, it's not Amazon who actually sells it. They actually have agents that work for them. And then they put up a description But obviously Amazon don't have a way of actually monitoring how these goods are sort of described. So some sharp-eyed individual picked up on it, and David Lammy took it up. So yeah, that's where we are.
Amazing.
Mr. C, what do you have to say on that?
Well, I think I think what Amazon needs to do, you know, well done to them for taking it down. I do believe that it's literally practically impossible for them to police something like that from as regards to stopping it happening in the first place. Because again, everybody puts, you know, when you're selling something through Amazon, it's up to you to put the description in, and so I think it's very difficult for them to stop that and block that. However, you know, they've done a great move as regards to taking it down. But I think I would like them to go one step further and actually investigate the person who was selling, or the organization who's selling that particular product, and see if they have any other items for sale which has the word, you know, nigger in it. And if they have, or, you know, if they see that they're aligned to some kind of far right kind of group, then I think all of their items for sale should be removed from Amazon.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, this brings me on to also think and talk about something. I signed a petition this week on Instagram from my friend's page, which was that everybody on Instagram should have to verify themselves, because he has received some absolutely horrendous messages on Instagram, racist messages about his looks and his family, and even sometimes when he's posted his nephews, what people have said about his family and racism is absolutely disgusting. And I think there should be some sort of verification on Instagram now to just stop people making these stupid accounts where they just basically troll and abuse people. So I'm not sure if that could be extended into shopping, like when you want to be a seller on these sites as well. But I just think it's tied in kind of, and I think it's very much something that I quickly signed that petition for. I think that Instagram and some of these social media sites need to have a better verification system where you're starting an account, you have to show some sort of ID. Or do you think that will work? Let me know. Also, listeners, let me know if you think that's something that could work, and if you'd be up for it and all for it, because some of us don't actually get into receiving bad messages from people, but some of the people who have a bit more. I mean, Mr. C, have you had any experience in receiving racism through Instagram or any of the other social medias?
Definitely not racism. I've never had any racist comments at all through Instagram or social media. I've had one or two out of order comments. However, I think in my profession, because again, I'm a stand-up comedian, I'm always wary of that. If somebody says something to me and I feel anger rise up in me, it's the same if I'm on a stage and somebody shouts out something abusive. I have to let the comedy do the talking, because if I start saying how I feel and it comes from a place of anger or retaliation, then other people just see an angry black man, and we know how that story goes already. So I'm very much consciously aware of that. However, I think you're right as regards to there needs to be some kind of verification as regards to people. It's too easy now to just set up an account on Instagram, you know, put up, because I mean, one of the things what's happening now, people are cloning normal people's Instagram accounts so that they can try and scam them through some European money fund or whatever, and it's all too easy. And I think, you know, that once you start verifying things either through, you know, I think probably most likely a bank account detail or something like that, where we can actually trace back to a proper human being, a living person, then these things will continue. So yeah, but if anybody wants to racially abuse me, then depending on how much time I've got, it will determine how I deal with that. So it's either I just drop some facts and knowledge to them, I start telling them about their one teeth granny. It's very simple.
Yeah, because I heard recently about this verification where somebody, not only do you put up your passport or your ID, you then have to do a video of yourself then and there, so that they can verify it's actually you. So there's ways around this, I believe. So what do you think about the whole verifying yourself, even to sell on places like Amazon? Is there a verification before you can sell on there? I've never sold on there. So
I think there is. Yeah, there is. I think there are details you've got to put on how, because Amazon should be able to contact you, because see, they're paying you. I mean, it's a fine line, isn't it, between you know, this whole thing about verification and privacy. I think if you're doing business online, yeah, definitely, because obviously people need redress if you don't, give them the service that you're promising. I don't know how far you can extend that though. That's the only problem. And you find mostly that sort of racists like to hide behind a keyboard and spout their views. I was looking at David Lammy, and he was talking about how he was receiving some dreadful messages, calling him all types of names like Monkey Boy and all this, where we're gonna hang you and all this sort of stuff. So the thing is, you see, I think we can't come to terms with the fact that this is not going to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, we've made strides, yes, but to talk about eliminating this, right? The next generation of racists have already been brought up, and they're already ready to take their place to abuse our children and our grandchildren, who are going to be rolled out as cannon fodder for them. You see, and that's really the sad part of it. We think, well, everybody says, oh, it's 2020 now, we're in a post-racist society. Well, actually, no, we're not. There are still people, and a sizable number of those people, who hold these very antiquated views about black people and about their superiority. And even if these who was it? Was it a couple of years ago? One of these, I can't remember if it was Dolce & Gabbana or Fendi, when they had the gollywog. And then a time before that, it was someone else. And then they always come out and say, well, we apologize. And then it happens again and again and again. And that's the sad part about it, is that even with all this, the Black Lives Matter movement, and, trying to get some understanding, and, we're always, I don't know, it's like we're always trying to explain ourselves and explain our situation. It just falls on deaf ears and hard hearts. And that's what's really saddening about it. You wouldn't think you'd see something like this, but I guess in another way, it's an individual, it's a private individual, and so it shouldn't be entirely surprising. But the fact that it's on a major platform like Amazon is what makes it quite sad.
Yeah, surely they can have something on their back end system which flags up certain words. Like once they put in them keywords, there should be something that blocks them from posting it until it's been approved, like a pre-approval. I know there's definitely stuff like that. So hopefully Amazon look into doing something like that, where they put keywords in the back end, that if anybody writes these words, it has to go through a verification before that item can be put up. Sean has said, what the back foot? I wonder how she said it. What the back foot? This is outrageous. This happened before with some headphones. Yeah, I believe we spoke about these headphones. It had some very racist words in the description.
I just want to say, Terry, that What a Week has that system in place, because she didn't actually type what the back foot. She typed what the and What a Week live TV show used its algorithms to change what she had typed originally into back foot. That's what happened.
We're initiating some good things here on What a Week. We know what we're doing. Chanel agrees. I believe she wrote that maybe when you were talking, Tony. Blossom said, I agree with Tony, as it's been going on for far too long. Things need to change. Racism is here to stay. 100. And Chanel said, we fall many times with our surrender to hope. Yeah.
Right. I'm with Chanel with that. I think that, I think some of us believe that we can love this thing away, like love conquer hates, and if we love them enough, they will stop with it. But you have to understand how this all came to be. This came into being through savagery, barbarity, murder, terrorism. That was the start of it, right? So if you've got people like that and they think like that, and they still have views that, you're barely human in many respects, right? Yeah. And holding on to antiquated views like lynching and monkeys, right? And can describe an inanimate object like a shoe as nigger brown. Yeah. It's just a sad reality that we have to live with. And it's so sad, right? We're not even shocked by it anymore that much. Do you know what I mean? Like we see that, we just like, it's like we raise an eyebrow. Oh, what the hell? But, it's almost becoming like normal behavior. It's like the question is now, when is the next event going to be? When is the next racist act? Not oh, this is coming to an end now. No, when is the next one?
Yeah, Chanel said they're taking advantage of our loving nature. But I mean, I'm not sure if it's taken advantage. For me, I just feel like we can't always walk around being angry. I think we do
exactly.
Deep down inside, we do need to have a level where we know this thing is going to keep coming, to be fair. And it's not fair on us at all. But we need to just have a foundation where we know it's going to come. But it's about how we deal with it. Like Mr. C said, sometimes he needs to check his approach to it. And I think it's our approach to it that will always keep us on higher ground, you know?
100%, Terry. I think you've hit it spot on there, because, you know, like for me, I always say that, like, you know, if I did get racist abused on something like social media, to be honest with you, it probably will get you down to a certain degree, but I'll be like, it's social media. I don't actually know you. I can choose to read all of it or not. You know what I mean? It's not directly in my face, and you're not a physical living person in my face. Because I think what we've got to understand as well is that, you know, if we, like, you know, even the shoe nigger brown, okay, fine, haha, take it down, no problem. You know, it doesn't affect our day-to-day lives. And I think what's happened is that, you know, there's been a lot of change, because for that racist person now, yeah, you can say it on your keyboard, but you're not going to say that to me to my face. And if you're a bad man, can't say it to me to my face. And then you will see what a proper reaction is. You see what I mean? So I think there's times we just need to hold the anger in until the appropriate times to thump down our racist boy, and I am true.
Well, that's what Chanel said. We ask for too much when we already have what's ours. No, we ask for too much when much is already ours. We need to stop asking. So
the problem is, you see, Chanel, is that we don't have the logistics to fight back in reality, other than developing tougher skin, right? And finding ways to dodge the insults, so that, you know, we don't take it on board too much.
I disagree.
When you've got constant, let me just finish that point there. When you've got constant microaggressions that have been happening all your life. So, for example, in the area in which I live, there's rarely a day that I can step out onto my road where a white lady is not looking over her shoulder because I'm walking behind her, right? Now, I have to find a way to basically deal with that, right? So I could address her and say, well, you know, you wouldn't do that if that was a white guy, right? Or I can cross the road before I get close to her, right? Or make myself seem, you know, inoffensive, right? And less malevolent, right? But these are all things that you have to do when you don't have the firepower, when you don't sit at the same table as them, when you can't affect laws in the way that they do. It's like a passive resistance that you're forced into because they've got you, and they know they have, because they do this stuff and get away with it. And so Mr. C made a good point. Mr. C said, well, you come in my face and say that. If someone did that to Mr. C, 400 years of tump would come out of Mr. C. So
100%, 100%, my brother.
That is the build-up of the anger, you see. So when Mr. C said, well, it doesn't affect us from day to day. Well, it does, but we just don't see it, because what we do, we absorb, right? And then we deal with it in our own way, and then we carry on with our day. But let someone catch you at the right time and come to you with that. They are going to get the accumulation of all that frustration that you've grown up with.
Well, and that's what's supposed to happen, bro. That's exactly what's supposed to happen, you know? Because I think, as I always say, it's the same kind of thing with bullying. That's the only way people learn. You know, if you can't hear, you must feel. So, you know, if you think it's all right to go around calling people nigger, monkey boy, and blah, 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 and, you know, that's because you've never hold a tump in your mouth from one of us. You never hold a Caribbean African tump in your mouth, which has got the weight of dumpling and ackee and saltfish in it. You know what I mean? Or pounded yam. Because then that is something you're not taught at racist school.
Yeah,
you're not taught the consequences of your rhetorics, you know, nastiness. And I think that's one of the ways. That's one of the ways. But again, like in your case, Tony, it's that thing where, you know, because you're so eloquently spoken as well, I think that if you even said morning to that woman, it will shock her. If you said afternoon to her, if you just sparked up a conversation with her, it will change her perspective of what's being constantly fed to her about what a black male is all about, because she's never seen anything like you on TV or through the media. So I think sometimes that's the way how we combat the subtle forms of racism, is by showing them who we really are, because they don't know what they see on TV and what they read through the media and etc. is all a lie.
It could have been one experience, Mr. C. Like, that person could have had one experience with one black person which wasn't nice, and that's it. Everyone's tarnished. So that's also,
like, for example, being mugged. But you know, I would say to that person, if it's a Caucasian person who's being mugged by a young black male, being held up by a knife, I could understand that's a horrible thing for you. Yeah. And but again, please don't associate a whole race due to one act of criminality. You know what I'm saying? It's like, again, that would be like black people saying, oh, we blame the whole of white society for Christopher Columbus.
Yeah, exactly.
And the thing is, as well, I mean, yeah, I agree that maybe a person has had an experience, but I would say most of them don't. Most of them learn from each other, you know, through the media, you know, what racial profiling is, what these types of men are like, right? You know, they wear hoodies, they wear jeans, they wear trainers, you know, they can be in gangs. I think they sort of absorb all of that within themselves. And when they come into your space or they're walking past you, you just see the body language, you know. And I'll tell you what, sometimes it's so frustrating. I kind of feel like I want to make their nightmare come true. You know what I mean? That's how bad it is. And I no lie, I've had this like 3 times in a day. Like, come home, go back out, had it again, come back, go back out, have it again. And I'm like, what is this? And you know, when you've had this, when you've lived with this for your life, you become sort of like an expert on body language, innit? And the way people sort of deal with you, and the sort of, oh, here he comes, you know, like, and you see the clutching of the handbag. And, you know, it just builds up within you. Like, you just get so offended. It's like, you know what, I wonder if I should make a dream come true so that we could all be on television on the news, because it's almost like this is a stereotype they want. Right?
Honestly.
But then again, that's what I'm saying, that you see, what you've described there, until we start having discussions about it, Tony, what happens is that people fail to understand how that kind of behavior, again, you subconsciously give people the wrong kind of power. So, you know, I think many a times, like, as I said, I'm sure I've said this before, like when I was a young boy, like 13, 14, and the same thing, I see white women cross the roads, I see white men now crossing the road. Subconsciously, you're telling me that you're scared of me. And because you're scared of me, now I know that you can become a victim. You see what I mean? So again, it's like, if I get a wrong thought to say, like, you know what, boy, money's low, I know who's scared of me. I know who's already frightened of me, because you've programmed that into me. Yeah. You've shown me that you've got a fear of me. And so now I realize that I have this power to do this to you because you've given me that power. You see what I mean? So it's a very dangerous thing, this false advertising. I think Sean's kind of mentioned it there. We get fake PR motivated apologies from companies usually trying to do damage limitation for their businesses. But again, this is the other side of it, where if you keep on showing this kind of imagery of black people, especially black males, then you create this problem for yourself. You know, you create this problem for yourselves.
Although we would love to keep this conversation going, I have to move us on, guys, unfortunately. Thank you, Chanel and Sean. You were very involved in that conversation, helped drive that conversation so much. But we're going to move on now to talk about what's going on in Jamaica with locks. Now, I've got locks, so this story did touch my body when I heard about it.
Listen, and I don't have locks, and it touched my body too.
Locks or no locks, it touched all of us. Tony, I believe you can give us more insight into this situation.
Right, so there was an issue, I believe it's a Rasta family, and I think it was forgive me if I got this wrong, I think it's a son or the daughter, went to school and they were stopped from going into school. and the family sort of fought against it, right, saying that it was unfair. And so this week, a ruling came out in Jamaica saying, no, the school has the right to ban children from school that come with dreadlocks. So
I can't believe it.
If dreadlocks are banned in Jamaica, for goodness sake, the world is surely coming to an end.
What is going on? Like, what does this make? In Jamaica, you have Rastafarians. This is this not a norm in Jamaica to have locks and whatsoever? How can they ban that? Is this
if they ban locks in schools in Jamaica, the next thing what's going to happen is they're going to ban seasoning in food in Jamaica. They're gonna ban. What are you gonna do next, Jamaica? Ban bass in reggae?
Oh no! Huh? No, but honestly, what is the motivation? What's wrong with having locks at school? What is it a hygiene thing? Is it, I need to know the reasoning. I need to know what people are talking about.
Well, you know what, Terry? Now you've touched on a point, because like your locks, for example, it's beautiful. Yeah, let's never look at Terry's locks again. Terry's locks are beautiful. They're nice. They're clean, and they're nice and even. Yes, now, when you got locks, what look like like them blanket what you used to have in the 70s, them tick blanket, and it's like it come like this and everything, and then you can see the different types of bed fluff. Every single bed that you slept in for the last 17 years, you can see remnants of that. Then you shouldn't really be going to school with them locks. But then again, you shouldn't be going to school still if you've got 17 years. We
should hope that school has.
So, I mean, if they're not clean and they're not tidy, then I think what you're saying is that you're banning that child from coming to school with untidy or unclean hair, but definitely not locks. Jamaica, no, listen, you need to do better.
I mean, I'm sure I'm sure people look after their locks in different ways, right? But I suppose, in the Rastafarians' case, this is quite serious. I mean, this could well be a human rights issue, because obviously Rastafarianism is a way of life, right?
It's a religion.
It is their outward sign of identity as to who they are. So if you now say, well, your children can't come to school because the locks are unkempt or because they might have lice, right? Then certainly that's discrimination. And I was pointing out, I was having a conversation on YouTube because there were a lot of Jamaicans sort of outraged, and I pointed out to them, listen, Jamaica is not an independent country, right? It has received independence, but it's not independent. Like most of these Caribbean islands, any island that has a governor general, the governor general of these islands are representatives of the Queen of England, and their job is to make sure that what the Queen wants in Jamaica happens in Jamaica. And I think it was a while ago. I think we had a case here about locks, right? I can't remember again. I can't remember the details, but I think it was a child that was banned from school. Someone there to try and sort of fight it in the courts. So the UK system is what's implemented in Jamaica for whatever reason, right? It could be the idea that Rastafarianism to the powers that be. Represents, rebellion against the system, knowledge of self and one's heritage, and I guess the English policy may not want that, right? But that is the case with Jamaica. Jamaica is not an independent country. Jamaica follows the edicts of the UK, and if they don't, then things like overseas aid and all this sort of thing usually start to be cut.
Blossom has said it's always been frowned upon in Jamaica. It's about their class system. So this is interesting. Are we saying that, Rastafarians and people who have dreadlocks maybe are unkept because they can't afford to keep up their selves? Or I'm not sure. How is it about their class system? Because
they're frowned upon. They're frowned because, there's parts of Jamaica, let's be honest, there's parts of Jamaica where you call it uptown. If you're a little bit uptownish, you speak like you've got hot potato in your mouth, and they do. There's class systems everywhere, so they will look down upon Rasta because that's as close to you get as Mother Nature, as close to you get to the earth and to herbs, and they're going to live their life in a humble way. So some people, if you're trying to live uptown life, that's the furthest thing. That's the furthest you would say that from where you're trying to get to. So you wouldn't frown upon somebody like that. You know, if somebody who had uptown parents brought one of them downtown Rasta people, the parents would have a nightmare. They would, well, I mean, don't think so. You should bring Tony Crossbody back to my house.
Barbara said if they're worried about cleanliness, they should have asked for the locks to be covered up.
Yes,
exactly.
Good point.
So, very good point.
That tells you already that it's not about the locks.
Mm.
You understand? The point that Barbara just made there is quite important. It's not about the locks. It's what the locks represent that they don't want in their schools.
And I think sometimes as well, you know, what it is, Tony, is that you see that child is probably brought up a certain way as regards to seeing the world a certain way. And I think that child, perhaps, again, it's just assumption, in certain classes, is asking questions which are making teachers feel uncomfortable. Right. And I think this has been a staff room discussion as regards to little Bunny Wailer. You know, me can't take away a little Bunny Wailer keep interrupting in my class, you know. So we try to talk about, oh, you know, you must eat meat, and them tell me say about meat no good for your system and blah, and unless you must eat more item. We can't take this little child anymore. So sometimes it's their knowledge and the way how they live their life is a direct threat to sometimes the system and teachers. And what happens is they collude in the classroom, in the staff room, to try and get children excluded, and they're using locks as an excuse for not dealing with the questions that this child is probably bringing up, or the mannerism in which this child is having an influence, of a positive influence on other children, to ask questions, or see the world through different eyes.
You can imagine the history class when the youngster asks about, you know, the 400 years of slavery, when Captain John Hawkins and all them thing there, and you know, the teacher's trying to go in a particular direction, and this youth is like, no, this is a lie. So I would agree with you, and I think Barbara pointed this out well, that this has to be with the fact they don't want no Rasta influence in their schools, right? They want the youths of Jamaica, like the youths anywhere else, they're going to be trained to serve the state. The state serves the Queen, right, of England, and they need to be in line and in step with that. And any groups that are outside of that, I'm not going to be engaged.
Barbara said they put down on Rasta because they do not conform to the societies and class rules. And I mean, it's interesting because my children, they go to private school, and I don't know if the rules are different in public school, but at one time I shaved their head because I do the barbering. Yes, I do it. I did shave their hair down, and then I put 2 lines, just 2 straight lines on the side. You know how you can do that little styly sometimes. And my son got told at school that you're not allowed to have that in your hair. I just ignored it because nobody called me to tell me he can't have that in his hair, and it would have been a discussion if they did. However, I'm just like, so what's wrong with the 2 lines? Do you see what I mean? I can understand if there is some sort of, you know, big pattern and it can be distracting for the kids or whatever they would want to say, but I don't see how 2 lines even could be a problem on one's head when going to school. I don't know what who sets the standards to say what's a nice haircut for school and what isn't. I mean,
but I think what you're missing here, Terry, is the fact that your sons will go to school with that haircut, and the other boys will go, I love that, Mom. Can we have a zigzag like a thunderbolt, and then you see what happens is the school now says, well, the standard that we're trying to keep now, this has been introduced.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So I guess they told your son, and they didn't tell you because they wanted your son to tell you.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that serious to tell you directly because they know maybe you might be upset about it, right? Yeah. Or you might say, well, what's your motive for saying that? But their reasoning is, well, we have a set standard, which is that you have your hair on your head with no fancy lines.
Yeah.
That's definitely it. They don't want little Tarquin and Tabitha conforming to different cultures.
Right. Next week, Tarquin a whole mic. You want Mike? He's a rapper, and that wasn't the plan, right?
That's it.
Rappers, guys. That segues really nicely into our next story. He's an MC, wasn't he? Wiley has been banned off Twitter And I later read Facebook and Instagram have also banned him also. So I'm just like, what? He's been banned across the board, it seems. I'm not sure if this is facts, guys. This might not be facts, but what I read is that also Facebook and Twitter followed through and banned him. He had anti-Semitic comments, I believe. He was comparing the Jewish to the Ku Klux Klan in some of his tweets. Right. What do we feel about this? Because there was some uproar with people saying that they're going to boycott Twitter because these comments from Wiley were going on for some time and they feel that Twitter took too long to take action. And did it have to be a full ban?
Wow.
Well, here's a comment about power, right? If you want to know which groups of people have power, they're the ones that you can't criticize.
Yes. Yes.
And the ones that don't have parking bays in front of their yard where everybody else does.
Yes.
Those are the people who have power who can call up, right? Who can call up the government or whichever authorities they need to call up, right, to stop you from talking. Now, I read some of the comments from Wiley. And I mean, if I was a star in his position, I just wouldn't have said them because I know, you just know the repercussions would have come out of it, right?
And YouTube.
I'm not even saying they were that bad.
YouTube as well, it seems.
Yeah. I thought, to me, I mean, he was just talking about effectively, you know, how they rip and rob the business and things like that. You know what I mean? And how they go on and rob the artists and this and that and the other. And in itself, that isn't thing. But I think the fact that he pointed at them, right? And you know, whenever Jews get pointed at, even if it's true, they get triggered, right? And I think he said a lot, some of the, which, you know, I mean, again, I read it and I said, well, you know, this is tame compared to what we get when people go online and start talking their business, right? But if I was him as an artist, you know, I probably would have held back if I wanted to continue my career, right? I think his manager sort of, he split with his, but yeah, if he's spoken, the other point is if he's spoken out, how frustrated must he be? You know what I mean? How frustrated must he be, and how screwed over must he feel to actually come to the social media platform and talk about it?
Well, me and some of my comedy friends, we had a discussion with a Jewish comic about the same subject, and it was interesting to see it from both sides. Yeah, and you know what? It's a tough one for me because I totally hear what you're saying, Tony. I think, you know, being honest, some of the comments that Wiley made were, I think, again, this is one of the things that we have to be careful, because ourselves as you know, as Black people, we often get tarnished with stereotypes, which again have a effect on racist behavior. So I think there was some stuff what Wiley said which were some of it I don't think was racist. However, I thought it was deeply insensitive. So again, you know, to the statement that he made that the two sets of people you just can't seem to criticize or talk about are KKK and Jewish people. He's not actually in that sentence saying Jewish people are behaving like Ku Klux Klan people. He's not making that assumption or making that as a statement in any shape or format. However, it's very poor and very and in a way disrespectful to compare something like the Ku Klux Klan, who have a big history of again, same way how they've demonized Black people, they've demonized people of Jewish heritage as well. So I think that is something where you in a way you shouldn't really compare those two types of people together. Another comparison, what I'll say, where, you know, Black people have received comparisons, which I thought were a little bit unfair, is when, you know, I'm talking about in the 70s, where you had, you know, where again it was completely different fabric to what we have now, where you had things like homosexuality was very much frowned upon. It was illegal still in some places. But you had gay people saying, you know, you don't understand how it feels to be homosexual. It's just the same as how Black people feel. And you're thinking, well, hold on. Yeah. What you want to do in your bed at night with who? It's got nothing to do with my color, because, you know, you see what I mean? So in a way, the comparisons were made, but again, being Black is not like being homosexual. It's completely two different separate things. But again, I would have felt offended by somebody making that comparison, but that's not to try to. So in a way, I can understand how Jewish people felt offended by that statement, deeply offended by that statement. And again, something that I would have said, but I understand what Wiley was trying to say, which is that there's a lot of secrecy and misinformation around the Jewish community. So again, when we talk about like the bankers, a lot of people believe like the bankers, the Illuminati, the majority of them are Jewish people or Jewish influence. And probably that's not the case. But until we have an open discussion about it, people will not be educated and still hold these views about them. You see what I mean? So it's the same way like we were just talking about, our young black males, that there is a view in this country about young black males being violent, being in gangs and being involved in gun and knife crime. But really and truly, if we're talking about that as a percentage of young black males, we might be talking about anything between 2 to 4%, probably. But until we have an open discussion about it, the truth is never uncovered. So I think this is what, some of the things what's happened for Wiley is that he's had problems with his management company who happen to be Jewish. He's probably been privileged as regards to seeing some of the higher realms of that management company and the reaches that they have through a particular small segment of the Jewish community. And he's made a sweeping statement as regards to the whole community, and the whole community is not like that. It definitely is not like that. But I think what it's done is it's opened up an area for discussion. And the final thing I want to say on it is that, again, I think that the point he's made is that when we compare the swiftness of the action of what's happened when anything is deemed to be anti-Semitic as opposed to something which is out and out racist, whether it be an officer kneeling on somebody's neck or a police officer shooting a woman in her bed, somebody being dragged out of their car while their child is there because the police are fabricating, and we know that this is to do with race, that the swiftness of the action is never as swift as it is with the Jewish community. And I think what it is that they have a hierarchy system where they can pull through complaints and action in a much more quicker and effective way. And I think one of the reasons being is because the Holocaust for them is still fresh. Whereas for us, slavery is always there, but it's not as fresh. If it was my grandfather who was hung, lynched, burnt, my grandmother who was raped and tortured, or my great uncle who was thrown as a baby to crocodiles, gator bait or whatever they called it, probably I would feel more passionate to do things quicker. But I think it's great that it's opened up for debate, and we need to have more of these debates to determine what really is anti-Semitic, what is racist, and what is acceptable and not acceptable for both communities.
Yes, and Dawn has said they need to ban Katie Hopkins as well with her outright blatant racist comments about Shamima Begum. Is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm.
The point where she had has a video that's in circulation. What's good for Peter should be good for Paul. So on that point there, we're going to round up by talking about very quickly, Eat Out to Help Out.
Yes.
Out to help out this month. The whole scheme is that you can eat in many places and get up to 50% off the prices. I remember seeing the whole of social media going crazy about Nando's specifically, how much they can get their chicken and chips for in Nando's now for the price of almost nothing. Everybody was excited because we love a chicken. We love a chicken.
Nando's are doing chicken and chips at boss man prices, literally. I can see boss man next door saying, what is going on with Nando's? You cannot be doing this to us, man. Come on, man. I'm selling bucket of chicken for 25 pence, and now Nando's, you're selling goat chicken and chips for... Come on, man.
They're challenging the high street shops now. But
yeah.
What are we going to be eating now? Any recommendations? I want to hear from you watching us also. Any recommendations and any places where you're definitely going to eat out this month, Tony?
Is Nando's actually open now?
Open for business, Tony.
I'm going there for the show.
Oh, that's it.
Do you need a voucher?
I don't think you do. I believe you just go in and claim your.
You just roll up, man.
Yeah.
Monday to Wednesdays it is, and I think Miller and Carter are involved as well, so you can get like Miller and Carter they do a filet steak, man. Oh.
Yeah. Hurry up, finish the show. Come.
Oh man. Oh.
Do we know any Caribbean shops that are getting involved? I mean, where did I go the other day? I went to Cotton's in Camden.
Okay, yes.
I went for a bottomless brunch. The meal was nice. I didn't get any 50% off, but I don't think it had started yet. So I'm not going to cuss them off. But I don't know if there's going to be any Caribbean places that involve themselves in this 50% off. But to be fair, I don't like eating out my own food. I like to eat other people's food too.
But the thing is, I know that if Caribbean shops started doing that 50% off, black people will lose their minds. Because what will happen is black people will turn up there with Tupperware. They would turn up there with Tupperware.
Take home.
Yeah. Listen, trust me. So you know it goes. What's Tony saying there, Terry?
Tony's saying we are the scapegoats of the world. How can you have a law where you can discuss every other race bar one? Furthermore, Wiley was awarded the MBE but was not entitled to keep the award.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That was one of the things that came out. That was interesting. That was.
Yeah. Olivia said, "Oh, sorry. Go ahead."
No. Go on.
I was just going to say, Olivia said, "Eat out to help out. Forget about the COVID. My son is there now." I think he's there, as in he's in Nando's, most probably.
Yeah. Go on, Olivia. Send the children. Go on. What am I cooking? I tell you what I'm cooking. Here's your Oyster card. Go on, Nando's.
Barbara said no voucher, but you have to eat in, no takeaways. Okay.
That's all right.
Not just an old, okay?
Yeah, let's round up the show.
And take your Tupperware, okay, Tony?
Yeah, right there.
Listen, take your Tupperware. Order two of whatever, and scrape one in the Tupperware. Now someone nickel and yeah, man, go on again.
Barbara saw one Caribbean place on the list, and she said she'll send it to you, Tony.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you, Barbara.
All the love, Tony. All right.
Yes. Well, you know what? One Caribbean shop, man. Come on, we need a few more, man. And I bet that's somewhere far from me, like Lewisham or Croydon.
Oh, yeah.
All of South London is far from me. I'm just like, why do you go to? I don't go to South for anything. Like, it's void. But anyway, it's been a good show. As always, time has flown. It's flown. We've had a good discussion. Thank you so much, everybody who has got involved in the discussion, even giving us some pointers about what we need to do to eat out and dine out for 50%. We love conversating with you. Please make sure you tell your friends to join us next Tuesday, because we'll be here again discussing all sorts of different topics. News from us, by us, basically. We've got Tony. Tony, sign out. Let them know, the people know what you want to say. Say bye.
Good evening, people. Don't forget, Nando's, that's the place to be.
And Mr. C, how are you signing out today?
Why, listen, this is the place to be, man. What a week. See you next week. See you time.
Don't eat too much. And if you want to be taking me out for a meal, you can also get in touch via this email. I'm only joking. It is my birthday month. No, it's my birthday month, so it's a good month.
Oh.
Eating.
Come on, then. Come on. Yeah. So look, no, seriously, if you want to take Terry out, please send us your requests and everything. She's got 2 children and a husband, so that's a meal for 4 you need to plan for. Just letting you know.
50% off. Don't forget that.
And don't forget she's got locks, so make sure the restaurant takes exception.
Yeah.
On that note, thank you so much for a week with us. I hope you've enjoyed. Make sure you join us again next Tuesday, where all 3 of us will be back again by His grace. We will be safe and sound and back together, where we'll be giving you next week's news. But until then, take care of yourselves. Thanks for watching. Bye.